Stranger Things. Now, a show that I never watched, but it is coming to my favorite game, Dead by Daylight. So, Dead by Daylight. You guys already saw it on my channel if you have subscribed to my channel at all. And you guys probably know now at this point, since the amount of videos I put Dead by Daylight in the background, that I do like this game very much. And, well, how it's one of my favorites. And knowing that Stranger Things is actually coming to Dead by Daylight, and how other Stranger Things fans are coming to Dead by Daylight, this might be a good way to show the community that we do care. I guess that makes no sense. But hey, I've been hearing a lot of Stranger Things fans saying that it's pretty cool that Dead by Daylight is bringing a certain monster, Demogorgon, and two survivors that are from the show, Steve and Nancy. Now, since it's gonna be coming out sooner or later in I think September, that I might be a Steve main for a little while until I go back to Bill or Nia, somewhere around that. So I have not watched a single episode of Stranger Things, and I don't know anything about it. All I know is about the Demigorgon and like some girl named Eleven or something. She has some weird powers, and that's basically it. That's all I know about it. Other than that, I don't know like a single plot about it, and I don't really think I want to get into it, considering the fact that I'm not necessarily a fan. I can explain, but I just don't want to watch it. Call me close-minded or whatever, but I'm just not really into watching shows or movies in general. Cause like most shows that I will watch is like in the past, for example like Chowder or something like that. But I'm not really into like shows and movies now. It's mostly just YouTube videos at this point. And yeah, so it's just why I don't really watch that much movies or shows anymore. But there has been a show that I watched recently, and it was introduced by my friend, that and then introduced me to it, and it was called Umbrella Academy, something like that. And I'm waiting for season two, but yeah, it's gonna be coming for a little while. And I know it's not gonna come to Dead by Daylight, but that'd be pretty cool right now. But so what we're talking about, Stranger Things, and well, some of the perks and some things I've been hearing about that's been pretty cool. So, for example, I've been hearing a lot about the perk on Nancy, Fixated. Now, Fixated is a really good perk from what I've been seeing and from what I've been hearing. But what I just don't get about it is this: why does it make it so you can walk faster if you are not injured? I don't get that part. For me, it makes no sense to just have that in a certain perk that just already shows your own scratch marks instead of the killers only seeing yours. To me, that is kind of pointless. I don't get that part where you get to be able to actually see not only your scratch marks, but you get to walk a little bit faster. If they just added that you can see no scratch mark, it would have been a lot better. It's pretty much just adding urban invasion into, a killer perk or something like that. And I just don't really like Fixated as it is. Now I do like Fixated, I just don't like that part of Fixated where you be able to actually walk faster. It's basically just having urban invasion, but instead you're not crouching. And then there are other perks like Babysitter, and how all the people I've already found out that, well, if you make your choice on it, it becomes really bad when it comes to trying to be altruistic. And which is why I'm not going to really use Babysitter, but I am of course going to be altruistic and try to get Adept Steve and Nancy, so I'm going to have to use a perk. So yeah, and then I've been hearing a lot about the Demigorgon, and well, his powers are pretty good. I've been seeing really good ones, especially I think it's Mind Tricked or something around that, where basically I'm pretty sure that if you were to actually I think hook someone, you would actually be able to actually block off windows or vaults, not pallets though, and basically block them off, and it actually is a pretty good perk. I really do like it. His power is whatever. His power being able to actually teleport to the other portal that you make around the map is okay. It's not good because it's kind of like the hag in some way, but instead you don't really trigger it, I'm pretty sure. But instead the survivors could just disable it altogether, which makes it kind of pointless. So how do you use this kind of power? Well, you could use it around hex totems or just generators. That's what I can only see from using it. Using it for like mind tricking is not something that I actually think of it at the top of my head, since it doesn't really seem really good when it comes to mind tricking. So what I see it in being useful in is just blocking off certain areas, like the shed's window or pallets, and just blocking off totems so they won't be able to actually get it until they have to trigger your little trap. So the question is that I want to know is like, what if you were in that portal? And yes, I have seen from a Reddit post, and this is also one of my questions as well, since it seems pretty interesting. What if you were in that portal and you were teleporting and someone closes it off? Do you go back to the portal that you were teleporting from, or do you just complete the entire animation? That, like, what does it do exactly? So of course with his power, you make a portal and you make another one, and then you look at it, and then you go up and teleport to it, and you're over there. It's kind of like Freddy's power in a way, where you just wait for it to recharge. You look at a generator that you want to go to, and boom, you're at the generator, and it gives you a little hint that Freddy is coming by telling you that there's blood coming out of the generator, and then you run away. For Demigorgon though, I don't really know if there's like any sort of notification of when he's coming. You just know that there's a little portal on the floor and you have to be careful and or disable it. You can't disable it with a flashlight, I'm pretty sure. That's with the hags. But you can't really do anything with it except for doing a skill check, I'm pretty sure, and disabling the entire trap. So like is there like any other way to actually counter it? So I'm not saying that Demigorgon is really overpowered. I'm saying like he's like at least like a B or C tier killer. I don't really see him as like an A or S tier, because to me, no one can actually compete against Hillbilly, Spirit, and or Nurses, and that's basically it. No one can really top those three killers, because if you actually use them really well, you're like one of the best killers in the whole game at this point. And then Demigorgon just comes in, and it's like the hag. There's the hag is not even really that much of a good killer as well. She's not an F tier or like a really bad killer at all. That was basically Freddy until he got his rework. But he's not really a good killer at all. I don't really see him as a bad or good killer. I see him as an okay killer. I don't really see it as good or bad. There's nothing, bad about him. Like his perks are pretty good. I like his perks. But his power is like the hags and Freddy. It doesn't really do that much. You just put down two portals and you teleport to it. I don't know how much of those portals that you have. You probably have 10 like the hags. But other than that, there's nothing really special about it. You just put it down and that's it. You're on the other side of the map. So I can really see it as kind of like the Trapper as well, where if like all generators are done, you can make it so you teleport to that door when you think they're actually at it. But that's the thing. It doesn't really notify you, I'm pretty sure, when they are at that gate. Usually, as a trapper or the hag, you'll get notified if they're either disabling your trap or they're triggering it. For example, if you trigger a bear trap, the trapper will immediately know when you've been into it. And for the hag, if you were to basically walk onto her trap instead of crouching, she'll just teleport to it and that's it. She already found you. But for the Demigorgon, I just don't know if they'll give you a notification that if they triggered it or not. So that's what we have to figure out later on. And then if we get to the survivors, so Steve and Nancy, people have been really happy, especially with Steve and his like Scoops Ahoy, I think that's what it's called, his little outfit that came with the show and now it's going into the game. So yeah, I'm also kind of excited to actually see some of the perks that I saw from the little stream that Dead by Daylight made. But I'm mostly like want to see Fixated and how it mostly works. But of course, I know how it works, but it's like, I just want to make sure sometimes the perks could be saying what they said, but then it's the total opposite or something. So there's Steve, they're the second wind, and then there's Nancy with their inner strength. So I don't really like. I see two of these specific perks to be good. These are the only two perks that comes in the game that involves healing yourself without having to do heals. It will just heal it for you. So when it involves inner strength to go in the locker in order for it to work, then it kind of makes it stupid, because in order for it to work, you have to do a totem. It could be a hex or it could be a dull totem, but and then once it activates, you have to get into a locker if you're injured, and then it will heal you. But that's the only way of actually healing with inner strength though. The thing that can really counter this is Iron Maiden, and it could just basically it will make the survivor scream, and then they're in an exposed state, and then that defeats the purpose of you using inner strength because now you're exposed and you're still on one shot, kind of like if you're injured. And then second wind is I'm pretty sure after you do an altruism, you'll get healed over time when you're still injured. So that's actually a lot better than inner strength. It rewards you for being altruistic. But for Nancy, the inner strength, it rewards you for doing a totem and hiding in a locker. That for me that's not rewarding. For me that's just being a Dwight at this point. And it makes Dwight, more of a meme now. Dwight using inner strength to prove thyself and stuff like that. Because Dwight in this game is mostly known as that type of guy to hide in a locker for the entire game, kind of like Claudette, where you just sneak around bushes and do nothing. But of course, those are stereotypes, and that's not actually a real thing. I have seen them, but not all people are like that. So there are other perks that from Nancy and Steve, but they're all right. I did kind of forgot what they're called and what they do. Of course, the game with Stranger Things hasn't come out yet. I don't know if the PTB has come out with Stranger Things, so we're gonna see that. Another thing that came out with the Stranger Things chapter, from what I've been hearing anyways, is the dedicated servers, which I am hoping that it did came because it's been like 3 months already and not a single dedicated server has come or any sort of news of it. But now we have heard of it and it might be coming when the Stranger Things chapter come out. Because if you guys don't know, like before summer started, they said that they were gonna start it. They were gonna start the dedicated server in the midsummer, or at least in the early year. But it didn't come out yet, and it's in mid-year right now, and now we just heard about dedicated servers coming, so it's kind of stupid. So yeah, that's all I gotta say. I can't wait for Stranger Things to come out. Of course, as I said, I'm not a fan. I'm not really thinking of watching the show. I'll probably watch it when I'm like bored or something like that, and I'll just watch one episode to see what what the hype is all about, and that's basically it. And yeah, I'll talk to y'all later.